Welcome to another Corner Conversation. We're talking about 2 Kings 3 today. I think that was my best intro yet. Scott? Gorman? You agree?
I think you're right.
I mean, usually at this point, when Greg is not here, we make fun of the fact that I have destroyed the intro and how much Greg is going to really, really enjoy that because he likes it to be better than I usually make it to be, but that's okay. Okay, so we've talked about persistence quite a bit. This is actually, let me introduce everybody. I'm just pointing, and then I'm like, actually, nobody knows who anybody is. We have Phil Homer with us today. You should say something, because not everybody is going to watch the video. So, who are you?
Phil Homer.
Oh, okay. He's in St. Paul. Well, are you in St. Paul?
Yeah.
Okay, you're in St. Paul.
About a mile south of downtown St. Paul.
And you were pastoring a home church, and now you're in a building.
It's a big move.
It is a big
It's been
move.
almost a month. Yeah.
How does that, so like the transition from house to a building,
Yeah.
like what have been good, what's been hard, what has that been like?
Yeah, so we did, I was a part of a large church for nearly 20 years, or probably over 20 years. And then 7 years ago in October, we started a home church in October 2019. Some might say it was divine timing because some stuff happened in 2020. It made it very simple for us.
Yeah.
A few phone calls and like, are we meeting in a garage today? Are we going to put a fan on?
Yeah.
Somebody's not feeling good. We'll just hop on as a call. And then, so in that time, I've got 4 kids when we started, 5 kids now. They're all pretty young.
Yeah.
And the church then grew through childbirth. So there's now 8 children. And I say that to say the house church model was both great and difficult because of that. But a lot of the ethos or a lot of the philosophy of church, basically just there's kids at your feet. And it's kind of loud and moms are like, please stop. That hasn't changed.
I mean, that is everywhere, though.
Yeah.
The mom saying, hey, kids, please stop. Big church, small, all churches have a little bit of that. But
So that has still been there. We now have a kind of a room like Camden where there's a back room with glass that you can try to hide the kids in, but then the 4-year-olds are still like, hey, this is my building, not yours.
Yeah.
And they're just tearing back and forth.
yes.
But I would say that probably the most fun thing is worship just naturally has a different feel to it because there's the atmosphere of, hey, we're not just on couches in front of a living room TV with kind of stuff in the background. That's really great.
Yeah. I feel like, is there I mean, we were just talking about the glass window, and like when we have really little kids at Camden, they can see all the parents through the glass window, and that is like good and bad. Like in some ways, it makes it so the kids like you said, they feel like this is their space, and they can just come and find mom or dad anytime they want. And then there were some kids especially when they were really little, that could see mom and dad, and mom and dad would be trying to like separate a little bit, like give them space, go play. And the kiddo, oh, this sweet little girl, she would be in here and she would just be like screaming like for a long time because she could see mom and dad. They were right there. Like, this is terrible. I need mom and dad right now. So there's some like fun.
Yeah. We have windows that go all the way to the ground.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting very good at cleaning windows.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the other thing. You have to clean up the space now.
Yes.
Like at home, if it's messy, you can like kind of ignore it for a little bit.
Well, and like the night before and the morning of, like all the kids get up and just like, hey, clean.
Yeah.
And so then they get that done, and then when everyone leaves, it feels like a part of like life. Oh, just pick this up. Now it's like a dedicated effort for like an hour and a half, 2 hours to get spotless again.
Yeah. Do you have to do setup every week?
I'm very keep it simple. And IT as my day job, and so I have the propensity to make things more complicated than necessary.
Oh, yeah.
So we have just a laptop and a projector and Bluetooth that goes to the ceiling. So
do you do music or anything?
We do.
Okay, how do you do music?
One of the gentlemen played guitar. I'm not musically inclined at all.
I play piano, so I have to bring a keyboard, and so it never feel like when I lead worship, I never feel like it's simple because there's like the keyboard, you have to plug in multiple things, and it's not as light as a guitar. Like I'm like, if somebody was playing guitar, we could even just skip sound.
Yeah.
But the keyboard, it for sure needs sound.
Yeah.
So
we've done a handful of guitar and cajon, but we had a long season, probably about 2 years of guitar and then little kids offbeat.
yeah.
That's very fun to watch. So
Yeah.
a bunch of spoons and like wooden sticks to hit
Yes.
together. And
I love that you are obviously a dad to 5 kids, because I think my brain might go, okay, like, let's maybe put the spoons away.
we've had
It's
more-
not that imperfection is a problem. It's more that my sensories might be a little overloaded at some point.
we definitely had more than one couple come in and kind of go, nope. Like, I get
You
it.
walk in the house and you're like slowly backing out the door. Yeah, that's all right. That's good. It's not for everybody, and it's for the people it's supposed to be. So
Absolutely.
that's cool. And then we have Adam Schreiber. I can say both names. Is that all right?
Sure.
I already did. So I already said Phil Homer. So Adam Schreiber. He's at North Loop. He's also connected to Phil, so
Yeah.
they're buddies.
I was a senior in college, and Phil was a freshman coming in and was my roommate. So
And you guys still like each other.
we still like each other.
That's
Mostly.
good. Mostly. I like this. You guys are very different people. I mean, I think you're very different. Are you very different? Are you similar? Like, tell me about this friendship.
I would say we're actually pretty similar. We're both very analytical and both very nerdy.
Okay.
And
I was going to
that's
say
the
nerdy, but I thought you
core-
should own that, not me. That's the core.
Thanks, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say there's a deep respect for each other's history and what we've gone through.
Yeah. And I mean, we've just been together forever. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's just the shared history you don't want to give up
Yeah.
at some point. So,
Well, and I think friendships that are from people that have different backgrounds or different like that's super important. Even if you're both analytical and nerdy,
yeah.
like
We're
I don't
just
know,
analytical and nerdy in different ways.
in different ways. Yeah, I like this. Okay, and then but yes, you're at North Loop.
Yep.
And not in St. Paul, like just outside of St. Paul.
Yeah, I live in Venice Heights, which is 10 minutes north of
Yeah.
St. Paul.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And then you guys were both at North Central,
Yeah.
like a long time ago, right? Just to
A long
age
time
us.
ago.
Just to
Yes.
age us all. It's been a while.
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, it's for fun. And then I watched you. So you guys walked in with or Adam walked in with not the biggest, but a pretty large commentary on Second Kings, ready to bring all the knowledge for the day. Which, did you read a ton this week? Like, have you been?
Not as much as I usually do.
Okay.
Because Phil and I are tag teaming at North Loop this week.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a different experience. But yeah. So not as much as I usually do. Usually I'd want to dig in through 3 or 4 commentaries, but
Yeah.
it's more so my insecurity.
I get that. Totally get that. I mean, is it insecurity or is it just wanting to understand what you're going? Is it insecurity?
I think it's a little bit of insecurity in the fact that I think every Christian believer at some point gets to a point where they should say, I don't know enough, and there's
Yeah.
other people out there, and there's more that I can learn.
Yeah, I agree.
None of us have the answers, and if we think we do, we're probably in a very bad situation.
Yeah. I think I have. No, I'm just kidding. I don't. I have no
So-
answers anymore.
Insecurity to a degree.
Okay. I I feel like when you speak, you bring in a perspective that's different than what we normally have on the team. And you definitely bring more maps. And I appreciate that. I need that. And you do bring in a large commentary, which we read, but you dive in, and I appreciate it. I think it's good. It's good to add that into everything, because otherwise I feel like there's moments where you can miss little snippets when you don't dive in. So I understand feeling like that's insecurity, but I also am I don't know. I don't feel bad about getting in the weeds because I don't know. I feel like I learn new things that I wouldn't have even seen.
Yeah.
So anyways, okay. So we're in 2 Kings. That was a lot of intro, but I also am enjoying just hearing about what's going on. Okay, but we have been talking about persistence. That's been kind of the theme that we've been focusing on through Second Kings so far. And First Kings was hope amidst failure, and this one is persistence. And before we started, and we talked about this a little bit last week too, like, are there personal stories where like either you or your kids or somebody has like persisted way past when they should have? Like maybe they should have given up and they didn't. Like that. Okay, so we were talking about the onion. Like there's these funny little memes where kids are eating an onion thinking it's an apple, and they want an apple, and they just keep eating the onion even though it doesn't taste good, and they're making faces. And I love my apple, but it's like they don't want to admit they're wrong, so they keep eating it. So those were the things we talked about before. But
I think so. As we started exploring this theme last week at Sunday service, I was talking with one of the people at North Loop, and we just were talking about like this sports analogy of like how in every sport there's like this cycle of like I can do some things and just like be better than everyone. Yeah. And then you get to this point, and then it's like, oh, I've got to have some technique with this too. And then, like, that's the first drop-off point for people where it's like, oh, like, the three things that I was doing before, like, you actually have to have some more nuance for.
Yeah.
And, like, then, so there's a drop-off, and then there's, like, the people who are like, I don't actually want to do the technique, and then there's a drop-off there. And it's like, but moving through all of that, I thought was a perfect analogy of like where we are,
yeah,
and how persistence just it has a reward, but it also is annoying in how long it takes.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. My husband will talk about his dad, like they golfed quite a bit, and he would say his dad doesn't have the best golf swing. However, he was very like competitive and persistent in that way. And so like he would win tournaments he probably shouldn't have, but it was like the competitiveness that drove him versus having this really great golf swing, which I think is hilarious. Like it's such an interesting, something shifts inside. It's like I'm gonna win this because I have to, versus getting better at actually golfing. Which if my father-in-law is listening to this, you're a good golfer. He's not listening to this, but if he is, like, I don't want him thinking I'm throwing, or his son is throwing him under the bus, because that'd be bad. I didn't mean it. I'm sorry. I take it all back. But
there's a handful of the Corner community that all cycle, and so we did a gravel ride, and those who are on the ride know who I'm talking to and about. And that ride, I was like, okay, I'm done, go ahead. But the persistence in me was like, I'm gonna finish the route, so I'm just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
And I caught up with them. I was sure that I was not going to.
That you were
I was
done.
Going to be by myself for the next 4 hours.
Yeah.
And so there's been a lot of those moments where I see people who are like, wow, you just not stopping has worked for you.
Just not. I like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. Anything, Gorman?
Yeah. Well, and then kind of springing off the cycling when, because I'm old enough to be around when Greg LeMond won the World Championships when he was, very young, and then he went on to cycle in France and started winning championships. Was winning Tour de France, and everybody thought, oh, he's the next Eddie Merckx, he's the next Bernard Hinault, and then he got in his accident. But when I heard people talk about his cycling, I said, Greg LeMond is great because he's willing to suffer and be in pain longer than anyone else. And that's interesting. Yeah. Willing to suffer and be in pain longer than anyone else. Anyone else, he could outlast anyone. Yeah. And that's what made him great. And I think that's a lot of what, when people are, when they a lot of people will look at him and just, they're fanatics, they're overdoing it. It's like, yeah, but that's why they're world champions. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Michael Jordan had his greatest game when he was dropped dead with the flu. He scored like 69 points that game. That's crazy. And he could, and he went, he left the game. I think he went right straight back to bed and throwing up and the whole thing. But it's like, Wow, that's interesting. That's terrible. And also, so 2 Kings starts with Moab,
rebelling, and like that's how the whole book starts. It's Moab and Samaria, they're both rebelling. Moab was sending tribute to the northern kingdom, Israel, and they were like, I'm done. Like King Ahab had died, who was the worst of the worst, and then his son also died, and then, well, not yet, I guess, not at the beginning of 2 Kings, but King Ahab died, he was the worst of the worst, and then they were like, well, this powerful king is gone, we're not going to keep doing this. So they're already rebelling. And then we see 2 Kings, Ahaziah falls off the balcony, he dies. That's a whole persistent moment where he's persisting after maybe not such great things, and lets 100 plus people die for him. And then we have Elijah and Elisha. And Elisha persists in following Elijah and being discipled and walking with him. And like that really reminded me, we didn't talk about this, but I was like, it reminds me so much of Ruth and Naomi, and like Ruth being like, go back home, and her being like, no, I'm staying with you. And didn't, like, I saw like more of this like commitment to relationship. And like, yes, it was being discipled, but it was like such a commitment to this relationship with Elijah that he wasn't going to walk away. And I don't know, there was something really beautiful in those moments. And then we get to 3 Kings, and Moab's Third Kings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that a new book?
Yes, it's a good one.
That's
I'm writing it in my when
extant
nobody.
Old Testament books.
The point is to
Whoopsies.
let it go.
No, you have to see it. You got to own it. 2 Kings chapter 3. So Moab's rebelling, and now King Joram or Jehoram, whatever you want to say, different books say different things. Decides that he's had enough. Like, no, you're not going to rebel. And so he goes to Jehoshaphat and is like, will you come with me to attack this kingdom? And Edom, who is kind of like Moab to Israel, Edom is to Judah, the southern kingdom. And so Edom comes along, and they decide to take the harder trail to get to Moab, and like the strategic trying to surprise Moab moment, but they're not prepared, and they run out of water in 7 days, which it's like Adam and I were talking about this. Describe a little bit of the weather in this area.
So the interesting thing about the whole geography that's going on here is that in choosing to go south around the Dead Sea, you're basically going through what was the old river valley that used to connect down to the Red Sea, but it is flat, it is barren, and it has no water because all the water went into the Dead Sea.
Yeah.
So it's basically now a desert, and on average it gets less than 2 inches per year in the Haba Valley.
This is why I like you. You got Haba Valley, you got all the geography.
You got mountains basically on either side of you, and as they're trying to hook up towards the capital of Moab, there's just a bunch of mountains on either side of you. And so this is like the worst place to be kind of getting bogged down in a military campaign.
Yeah. Also, like, in their trying to be strategic, they like were underprepared. Like, you had to have, I mean, it was like just wishful thinking. Like, we're going to go this way and hopefully we'll run into a stream somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, how did they think they were going to make it?
Yeah. I mean, there are like canyons through this area, which seems to have been their plan, that have like some streams running through them, but not enough that should have supported 3 armies.
Yeah, and like animals.
So,
yeah.
Yes, and all the animals and all the camp travelers that come along with military campaigns at the time.
Things didn't, so it didn't work out. It didn't work out.
Not at all.
Not at all. And so on day 7, they're like thirsty. So like this moment, they're thirsty. I would say, like, when you're that thirsty, like, you're barely alive. Like, they're literally close to death. And finally, Jehoshaphat, interrupt me anytime. I know I'm just talking, but like, interrupt me anytime. Jehoshaphat's a good king, but he made alliances with bad kings over and over again. And finally, Jehoshaphat is like, did anybody like seek the prophet of the Lord here? Like, why is he asking this question so late in the game? Like, he's supposed to be the good king. Was he just naive? Like, did he think that somebody did that already? Like, what is happening?
Well, I think the purpose of the text here is that it's trying to say, like, look at all these things that we as humans can do.
Yeah.
And, like, of our own accord. Like, we can make alliances, we can have the perfect plan,
Yeah.
but we're still human.
Yeah.
And we're going to make a lot of bad decisions. Where
What?
if you'd started on the front end, maybe talking to God about this, you might have got some other direction.
Yeah. Or you might have thought about the water. If, like, you know, you had spent
Yeah.
some time being less impulsive, mad at Moab. But, okay, so he seeks the prophet of the Lord. Elisha comes. But first he blames God for it, right? Like, is that before this or is that at this moment? Like, Joram is like, look what God has brought our destruction.
Yeah, Joram definitely sits there and is like, oh, this is all, God brought us all together so that he could destroy us all through Moab. And it's like, well, that's a little over the top.
A little ridiculous. Like, you did this. Like,
Yeah.
you didn't even ask. I mean, obviously, we see now you didn't ask God what
Yeah.
to do. And now you want to blame God for what's happening. I don't know. Joram's a little interesting.
Yeah, Jehoshaphat is, I mean, for his, he has, you know, kind of this well-worn human pattern, right?
Yeah.
It's like we go, oh, we can do this. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then you know, we run to the end of ourselves and we go, oh, can I get some help here, God? You know, and it's just like, we got it. We can do it. You know, and you know, it's. I mean, even Peter.
Yeah.
That was Peter's MO.
Oh, all the time.
100%.
Yeah.
He's like, I got this, you know, and then he doesn't, you know.
He doesn't got this?
Yeah, he doesn't got this. He comes to the end of himself. He goes, okay, help, you know.
I've never done that. That's not me.
I haven't done it yet today.
Yeah.
Just give it time, though. There's a lot of day left.
That was something that jumped out at me going 2 to 3 is just the whole like, so be quiet. So be quiet. So be quiet. Like, not just once, right? Just this repeated nature. Of course, Peter gets the same treatment.
Yeah.
Mount Transfiguration. So you see that, like, the narrative.
Tell me a little bit more about the So Be Quiet.
So, in 2, 3, 3, 4, 5. Yes, I know, Elisha replies, so be quiet. Elisha said to him, stay here, and the Lord shall send me to Jericho. And he replied, as sure as you live, I will not go with you. And then you jump down to verse 5. Yes, I know, he replied, so be quiet. Stay here. Right? So
Okay.
we have this, like, knock, knock, knock. Hey, knock, knock, knock. Which very much fits with the theme here of persistence.
Yeah.
And I see that often in Peter and certainly in the Kings and these kind of men and women of Scripture that really move forward, maybe not knowing how it's going to end up.
Yeah.
Of course, you know, a king knows that he's going to be successful. He often isn't, but that's the
Very
the
sure
mantra of the king.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to do this, and they have to. I think about that as like a father and as an organizational leader and as a community leader and this weird thing called a pastor. There's this notion a lot of times like, we're going to be successful. It's going to be okay.
Maybe. Yeah.
And so holding that hope and suffering at the same
Yeah.
time that you really don't see Peter ever doing. You don't really see
No.
him
Yeah.
going like, I get this. He just is kind of the image that I've heard seen a lot of times, like a bulldog with a
Yeah.
bone, just
He's-
not gonna let go.
Yeah.
And
He's
so-
much more roller coaster emotion. Like, he might have hope sometimes, but he's not holding hope and suffering at the same time. Like, he's like super hopeful, and then everything is terrible. And I think I can relate to that.
Certainly, the King's narrative for Second the Chronicles definitely has this like, we're gonna do it, we're gonna be there, and all of a sudden, oh, what
Wait
do we
a
do
second,
now?
yeah.
And even like the way that God interacts with them is surprising to me. Like, if I am in that position, what would I do? What would be my magic wand to help? Water, sure, but there's some really cooler things I could have done.
Yeah.
As always, the answer is flying eagles.
Always.
Go back to Lord of the Rings, get some flying eagles, and we'll be good.
And we'll be fine. Yeah. I have no idea, but yes.
Oh, well, those who know Lord of the Rings will know that.
I know it enough, but not well. But yeah.
You just need 12 hours.
I know.
Yeah.
I just watched some with my kid because he loves it, but I only retain some of it. But
The motif is, why didn't we just do this earlier?
Yeah.
Like, this was a solution. Why couldn't this have just come
Yeah.
immediately?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the challenge with Lord of the Rings series.
yeah,
If we just would have done this right at the beginning, the story would have been over. But then the story would have been over.
yeah.
And that's not humanity.
No.
And so-
And that's like the desert. Like when, Moses, 40 years through the desert, or not Moses. Yes,
Yeah.
Moses. Oh my goodness. Hello. 40 years, the Israelites and Moses, 40 years through the desert. Like, even like Ahab, when Ahab was like close to death because of his own sins and consequences, like he repented. The worst of the worst repented. And then his son, and he lived. And God was like, this is going to happen to your son. And then I kept thinking, like, if Ahaziah had had a similar response that his dad had, and he was repentant, like, would have God been like, okay, like, his mercy is shown with Ahab. Why wouldn't he have been merciful with Ahaziah if Ahaziah had a different response? But he just persisted to do whatever he wanted. And, like, I don't know. I think we see God's character in a lot of these moments where it's like, well, okay, you did screw up. Like in this moment with Jehoshaphat asking about the Lord of the prophet of the Lord, like, you did screw up. Elisha comes, and there's still some consequences because they're like left for dead. Like, they don't have energy. It's hot. It's like the sun is beating on them. They're thirsty, all of these things. And then they have to like dig trenches for water to come. So I don't want to dig trenches right now. And I am not warm. I have drank water already today. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to imagine being able to dig these trenches when you're that worn down. Like, they had no choice. Otherwise they were going to die. So they dig these trenches. And Elisha also says, like, the only reason they're helping them is because of Jehoshaphat. Mm-hmm. But they dig these trenches, and then, like, it's not like water came from the sky. The trenches filled up, which still is like God using creation to solve their problem. But the trenches filled with water, and they were able to get their needs met. But it's like they could have started in a much different place. A much different place. I don't know. Why do you think they had them still dig trenches? Like, instead of sending the eagles or like little drops of water from heaven, something that would have been easier. Like, why do you think they had to dig these trenches?
Part of it feels like in 19, the notion of like, you feeling bad now.
Yeah.
If you want the Lord to work, you gotta take another step in, like,
Yeah.
this doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
At least in this narrative. I'm not saying it's
Like, that's always God. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's always God. But 19, I will overthrow every fortified city and every major town. You will cut down every good tree, stop up the springs, and this one really got me, and ruin every good field with stones. The next morning, when they were offering sacrifices, they filled with water. So, not only was it hot, not only were they tired, not only were they exhausted, now we have to ruin the fields with stones. That is not easy work.
No. No. That is not easy work. So they fill the water, they get what they need. Moab, instead of like even Israel entering Moab, they see this water, and I was like trying to figure out why, but like they see the water and they think it looks like blood, and it's like the red desert and the sunshine on the water, like the combination of it could look like blood, and they think that Israel has destroyed themselves. They've turned against each other. These three armies like decided, you know what, instead of being together, we're gonna destroy each other. I mean, they are three different kingdoms, who knows? So Moab sees that, the people of Moab sees the blood, or sees the water, think it's blood. So they come out unprepared, like ready to like celebrate. They don't think they're going into battle at all. And then instead they're right in battle, unprepared, and are destroyed. And Moab doesn't respond. The king of Moab, Mesha, does not respond well to this. And is there like, I think I'm skipping to the end, but if there's things to fill in, but like Mesha, instead of just, accepting defeat, decides, he's so upset he decides to sacrifice his son, the future king, on the city wall. So like publicly for all to see, he kills his son, the future of Moab. And like, that's the end of the chapter. And there's like outside thing. There's outside anthropological whatever things that say like Misha. There's Misha Steele. I don't think I'm saying it right. Do you know what I'm saying?
Steely, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Say it right. Tell us. Do you know much? I mean, I'm assuming you know much about
Yeah,
it.
it's so the interesting thing from a historical perspective is that we have the Jewish perspective on it,
Yeah.
canonized here in the text, but there's also basically a monument
Mm-hmm.
that was set up in Moab, basically saying what's their perspective on
Yeah.
it. And their perspective was kind of talking about this entire revolt of how Moab was throwing off Israel and Israel's territorial expansions on the east side of the Jordan River.
Yeah.
So it's really strange because what Moab comes along and basically says is that we threw off the oppressor here, and you know we did everything that was necessary to do that. Israel comes along and is almost seeing this event as it's recorded here. They're coming along and saying, well, we've already done all the things that were necessary to destroy this land, to put you back into subservience for some period of time. And you can claim whatever you want, but, you know, you went and killed your own kid. We'll withdraw. That's good enough.
Yeah.
But the really interesting thing, though, is that Moab, in their own account, they're sitting there saying, we are the ultimate winners
Yeah.
because we got them to retreat and we retained our independence.
Yeah.
And so I think it's very interesting to look at this perspective because whenever you're comparing from a historical perspective, like the two different narratives, really you've got one side that's saying, in Moab, saying we persisted through the worst of the worst
Yeah.
and survived, which is the narrative that, like, as Westerners, we tend to associate with more, whereas the Jewish perspective was we went through hardship to do the hard thing, which is just an entirely different narrative.
Yeah. Because they did retreat in the end. Because after he killed his son, they were like, I'm out. Like, this is terrible. Like,
Yep.
this is bad. And so they retreated. Like, I don't know if they retreated because it was just so horrific. They were like, this is not a place we should be. But, like, there is some really... Go
Yeah,
ahead.
it's not as if they retreated though and like the land was cool.
No.
They cut down every good tree.
Yeah.
They destroyed
They
every
destroyed-
good field.
Yeah.
There was nothing to conquer at that point, which
Yeah.
does kind of go back to your original Torah image of, hey,
Yeah.
you don't take the gods, the false gods, and bring them into your culture. You're supposed to like say, hey, that's wrong, and then go back to your culture.
Yeah. It is like... Because when they destroyed the trees, they destroyed the economy. Because it's like the fruit and their vegetation, like it was everything. It's an interesting, like, I feel like it's a lose-lose. Like, I mean, yes, in a way, Israel won because not in a way, but they like destroyed all this land. Then Moab responds by like killing the future king. And they say like, and then they have this, say it again.
Mesha Steely?
There we go. And they say like their god, Cherubim.
Sheramash?
Thank you. I appreciate somebody that can say the right words. But they say I believe it. It's right. But they think that they say they won, and they say it's a victory because of their god. And but really everything's destroyed. And like Moab was giving Israel like 100,000. What was it? I can't even remember what it was, but it was a lot. Was it like lambs or?
It's lambs and wool.
Yeah. So they're giving them all of these things. Do we know when that started? Like, was it after the kingdom split?
So the text at the beginning of chapter 3 here basically says that it started at some time under the reign of Ahaz. So.
And Ahaz was he a good king or a bad king? Does anybody remember? Ahab was bad.
Was it Ahaz or Ahab? I apologize.
No, don't be. I'm putting you on the spot. But I feel like there is some like
Ahab, sorry.
Ahab, who was the worst of the worst, married to Jezebel. She was also the worst of the worst. Like,
Yep.
they were bad. So it's like this started in a not great place.
Yeah.
And Jehoshaphat was a good king, but like made alliances with bad kings. They went to war with Moab without asking God. God still intervened and saved them. But was this ever, like, this feels like one of those moments where the Israelites did what Israelites wanted to do, did not really care, and God intervened and saved them, but like they might have been completely in the wrong as well, because they weren't exactly getting rid of their false gods. Like, he got rid of Baal, but that was it. Like, it wasn't like they were, I mean, this wasn't a battle to get rid of Moab's false gods. That's not what this was about.
Yeah.
I don't
There's
know.
far more economic realities
Yeah.
that are going on here, which even for us, I would say, you know, there's a question of whenever we put our own emphasis on things rather than inviting God into our big decisions.
Yeah.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's kind of my personal takeaway from
Yeah.
this chapter is you sit here saying, you know, all these things are important, but you've never taken the moment to actually give God space to,
Yeah.
you know, influence what you plan
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
situation. And man, I feel like all of us have made those decisions in our lives.
Yeah, for sure.
Where it's like, I'm just gonna, I'll do this. And it's like, you know, with retrospective eyes, then we look back and we say, God could have, you know, probably made that a lot simpler than I decided to make it of my own volition.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good way to land the plane. I feel like, I mean, because I'm a little, I'm disturbed by Israel in this moment, and I'm disturbed at like, even, yeah, it's a really tough moment, and so it's just how do we persist in a way that is more like Elisha and focusing on God. And even Jehoshaphat, even though he was behind, at least he did go, okay, hold on. This isn't what we were supposed to be doing. Where is a prophet of the Lord? Let's wake up here. What are we doing? And because of him, like because of his love for God and Yahweh, like Elisha intervened. But it was a hot mess.
Yeah.
This feels like a hot mess.
So we need Jesus.
Amen.
And
Anything to add?
apparently a harpist.
Yeah.
And a harpist. Elisha for sure needed the harpist.
I will say,
I like
everybody
this
who reads
idea.
This text is basically like, harpist. That's like the most important
I know.
word.
I like though that they're like dying here. Like they're in the middle of the desert. They're hot. They're thirsty. All these things, and they're like, somebody find Elisha a harpist so he can save the day. So
And the fact that there was one.
right, where did the harpist? That's funny.
Well, they brought harps, of course. So.
Obviously,
Yeah.
I mean, all right. So read 2 Kings 3. It was good. It is good. It is hard to process through it all because it feels like a lot of really tough things are happening. It's hard to like. I don't know. It's just a tough chapter, but it's important and it's good.
And just to add one final note,
Yeah, wrap it up. That's
I would just say
Rich's job usually.
the whole point of this chapter, the emphasis, even though the book's name is Kings, like the emphasis is still on what Elisha is doing and
Yeah.
God's relationship
Yep.
to Israel
Yeah.
through Elisha.
Yeah.
And I mean, one of the narratives that could have happened was, and 10,000 people die in the desert and everybody went back home.
Yeah.
But that's not what happened.
Yeah.
And I mean, ultimately, the emphasis is still on God's provision.
Yeah. Yep.
God's ticked, but
He's not pleased, and he
and I
still
mean,
steps
that's
in.
a reality of our relationships too.
Yeah. Yeah.
With God.
Yeah.
So
I like that because we do, like the Israelites screwed up again, and God is still good.
yes.
All right. Talk to you guys next week. Everybody hold on while I try to stop the video. This is my favorite part.